How's it going? This is Blade Banter, working to bring you specifications you can relate to so you can have an educated decision on your purchases. We're going to have something new here. So Benchmade 710, basically the origination of the Axis Lock first knife they had it on. Also going to be playing around with the tool. If you haven't known, I've used the Lyman pull gauge for some time, but I got a 3D printer, so playing around with it, so I did an attachment. So this is my test attachment. So it does everything that I need it to do, so I can communicate to you folks as far as pull weight, pocket clip, all those things. So that's the little attachment that I made for it. So we'll see how that works on this knife here. But we're going to be looking at that and then unboxing. At one of the Overland shows, they were out at the event, so Zach was able to talk to John there about the knife. So that's a pretty cool little thing there. So they did have some changes for it. So Axis Lock has been out of patent for a while, but they do have a new spring in this one. So if anybody's had any issues with springs breaking, I personally have not. But if you have, the new one has like over 1 million cycles, and they just stopped testing at that point, just for the fact that it just kept on going and didn't have any issues, didn't have any wear to it. But we're going to look at this one here. There's the 710. Those don't normally come in the box. These also degrade in water, so it's actually bigger than I thought it would be. So 710, so if you take a look at that compared to like a bug out, so there's a standard size bug out, so it's substantially larger than that. Just looking at the information online, the only thing that I don't like about this is it does have a recurve. I personally don't have that many recurve knives. I think the only one I have is a Kershaw Blur. But that's something that I'll take a look at. Maybe it'll work out fine. Maybe it's not a bad recurve, so it can be easily sharpened. But this is a nice setup right here. We're going to do the video for John, see what he says about the knife, and then we'll roll right back into it. So I was going to roll into John's video, but noticed a lot of music in the background. As much as I love copyright things, I just wanted to stay away from that. So they're saying flattened leaf spring, over 1 million cycles. So is it still the Axis Lock for it? But it's quite a bit of a larger knife. So let's open this up, see how this is. So nice actuation there. So that's going to be that recurve. It's not a very aggressive one. So I don't know how that's going to do on a regular belt system, or I guess if you really want to sharpen it out, you could do that. But that is going to be what it looks like. So nice milling as well for the knife. So you're going to have this milling on it. So from what they're saying, this kind of they really liked as far as like pocket watches and tinkering and everything else. So that's where some of this design comes from for one of the original designers. So that's where this comes into play. So it kind of looks like maybe a watch face on how that will look like. Not too sure if we can see from the inside here. No, I can't really see the Axis Lock spring, but I'll try and pull up a video or an image from Zach to do that. But if you see here, so it's having some scalloping for the actual release, so that makes it nice to release. At least it seems like it should. Yeah, so that's a real nice release for it. So where the tool comes into play, so where I would use that is going to be just to get different pull weights. So to see what it would be to do the actuation for this knife, so we're going to just do the pull. Clear that out. So see what this takes to open up. So under 1 pound, so it's fairly low. Doesn't really have a super crisp break. And so yeah, about 1 pound. So my preference on it, so this is just preference, but normally thumb studs I would prefer about 2 pounds of pull for that. Reverse flick is available for the knife, but nice accents for it. So you do have that gold ring around that pivot area. So basically that gold or bronze colored pivot accent. So that makes it pretty nice. You can see that milling. You can see also how that's going to be shaped for that release. So a lot of times some of them just have a little bit too much, too aggressive, so that makes it uncomfortable. This one I'm not seeing that. You can also see those mill marks basically within the groove, so you can see how those look. So you can kind of see that tooling path for it. Probably the gold class would be more, I guess, it would probably be a smoother one. So you can see it on there when you're looking at a naked eye, unless you're going to be really detailing it like I am here under the microscope. You're not going to probably see those too much for it, but that is going to be what it looks like. So as I pulled it for Zach's one, here's the spring, how it looks.
Now, they talked about the Omega springs. They talked about a little bit different on the axis lock. You can see the phosphor bronze washer still in there. And you can see now a little bit more to how much of an angle this has for pulling back on that axis bar. And it's still an Omega, but you can see the difference, right? How thick it is. And of course, how it's bent up into here. And you can see obviously how it goes around the crossbar, the axis bar right there. And then we'll just pull it back so you can see how it actuates. Just that little bit right there is all it needs. They said they tested over 1 million times. So I'm guessing this is going to take care of a lot of people's struggles with some of the Omega springs.
Yeah, so on Benchmade site, you're going to have it here. $450 is going to be full MSRP, so you're not going to find that at your local retailer. It's going to be a higher end knife, but it's going to still have that lifetime warranty. And with that spring, you don't need to probably ever replace it. 1 million cycles is a lot, even if you're going to fidget with it every single day. That's going to be a lot of fidgeting. For this one, is going to be the size-wise. So overall length is going to be that almost a 9-inch knife, 4-inch blade. So yeah, it's a good size blade for it. And then a thickness side is a 0.507, recurve drop point, PVD coated, flat earth, deep carry. So it is going to be a standard size clip as well. So that's going to be, yep, so standard clip orientation it looks like. So if you want to have the Benchmade clip on there, that looks to be the same pattern. So you could just run it right on there. So that's one thing that's really nice about this. As far as even in the aftermarket side of things, you can go and pick up any clip you want to, throw it on there, either be the aftermarket or one of the other Benchmade clips that you might have available to you, and then that can pop right on there. So right left hand carry for this. Does have a lanyard. Personally, I don't use lanyards, especially for this large of a knife, but that is available to you. It is going to have that recurve again, but it is going to have just a little bit different thickness for it, because it's not a compound grind, so you are going to have that thinner primary or secondary grind, and then as you roll into that, going to get thicker because it's a thicker part of the blade. So for me, it's not really an issue as far as behind edge thickness. I know that is something that some people really care about for that, but most times you're going to have it cut very well, no matter. Well, there's going to be a limitation, but in general, it's going to be pretty decent for that. PVD coating is going to have, I just noticed a little bit, fingerprinting for that. So that's going to be something that will be something you just have to wipe off, or just use it and then just enjoy the knife how it is. No backspacer for the knife, and then you are going to have that pocket clip. So there's probably some customization available, but the knife itself, I mean, when you get the original one, I think some of them are still on eBay. You could pick up for like $300-400. Arizona Custom Knife, I looked on there prior, and then they had, it was a few years ago, but like a $160. So you can still probably find those. They're going to be a D2 blade on most of those. But for the retailer, as far as what you're going to find for that, and on weight for this is going to be about 4.85 ounces, so it's going to be probably almost as much as your cell phone might weigh. So nothing that's too horrible for that either. But retailer wise, so about 405 for a retailer. That's going to be what you're going to find there. Some of them do also offer like laser engraving and other customizations. But overall, I mean, it's nice, handles well, feels really nice in hand. It does have that ramp on the back side, so it's going to be really confident in use. And then I do like those releases for the axis lock. I just like that, how that is. So there's a very few knives that have that type of orientation for the knife to be able to do that release. But I'll see how this goes, handle it, carry it around for a little bit, cut a few things, see how it looks for that, and then we'll kind of go from there. But this is going to be more the unboxing, and it's just a nice setup for it. Good sizing, so something that I start with a really small knife, and then this is now okay. So if you're starting into the hobby, this is going to be something that's probably going to be way too large. You're going to be like, well, I would never carry that. That's too large of a knife. I mean, I started with a Kershaw fraction at some point, and those were, at that time, it was like, well, that's pretty large. And then you kind of just get used to it and it just becomes part of something that you'll have available to you. But nice overall, nice setup. Let's check it with the pocket real quick. You're not going to be able to see that, but we'll see how this is in pocket. So at least on my jeans, the lip on it is little lower, but it has good retention for it. And then that'll probably move around or change up a little bit as we go. But 710, so harken back to now where they started from for this, a nice thing they did. Also, even on the blade, it has the McHenry Williams. So on the blade, it does have that information too. So it does give that credit to the designers. So as you see there, we'll just get in focus. So you see that they're designed by McHenry and Williams, Benchmade.com, also one of the patents. So again, the pattern is probably one of the things that they patented. You have the butterfly on the other side of things, just standard flare. It's 710. So nice setup for it. And this is one that kind of stood out for me, so this one I'm going to check it out, see what I have. Let me know if there's any questions for it. You saw the video as far as what the spring looks like and everything. It actuates well. This one seems a little bit tight for the action, but that is going to break in because I believe this one's still on washers. But yeah, not bad. So like it so far. This is going to be the knife now. So the 710 written out as 710 instead of the numerical 710. It is the part number for it, but when you pull it up on the site, it'll just be 710 spelled out. That's going to be the one here. So cool item. Like how it's set up. Going to be beefier working knife. Again, about the same weight as your cell phone that's in your pocket. So you have basically two cell phones as you rock this knife as well. So check out the website if you want to buy it direct, or check out your favorite retailer. They probably have these in stock and ready to go, shipped out to you. And I think there is 2 other variants available. So if you want to change it up as far as another option, we'll do a quick search on that. So it looks like it went up and not down. So I thought there may have been a more budget version as well, but it seems like this is actually the starting point, which is that aluminum handle scale that I showed you. And then they have the other ones that are going to be higher, so $600, and then also the gold class, which is going to be this guy here. So that's going to be much higher, just the Damascus. You're going to have different mill patterns on it. So this guy is fancy and pricey. So $1,500 for that guy. Damascus blade. This one's going to be probably about the same weight. Yeah, 5.9 ounces for this one here. But it is that gold class 25th anniversary type of knife. So that is going to be one that is going to be very limited and very expensive. So that's what you have there, but I'm going to see how it is now for this knife. Nice job. Now, thank you again to Zach for having it out, Benchmade for being able to help provide this to the channel to be able to check out, as well as some other folks. But check these ones out. Check out Benchmade, see what they're doing. And I know there's going to be the comments as far as it being too pricey, but to have it USA made, have something that is going to be innovative as well as lasting that lifetime warranty, it is what it is. So if you like it, pick it up. If you don't like it, you can comment about that too, but it also, for everybody that hates it, there are going to be others that really love it. So that's what it is. Check that out. Thanks for stopping by, and let me know if you have any questions so I can answer it while I have it still with me.